Hey YouTube, today I've got a Hofner, like what Paul McCartney plays. This is a, oh god, I don't even know what it's called. Hofner Contemporary Series. I should have looked up what name it was. It's called a Traveller, something like that. Well, god, I'll put it in the description. Yeah, so this is a travel guitar. So it's got no body, a wee stumpy head. It is full scale though. Well, it's Gibson scale, so it's 24 3/4 inches. Single humbucker, volume and a tone, bolt on neck, decent looking tuners, and yeah, so can you get away with such a small guitar? They're a wee bit neck heavy, but it's not very heavy. I think because of the way it is, if you can kind of set your hand on the, it's got like a wrap round tailpiece. I borrowed this off my pal. He was saying the intonation was out, and yes, it was horrible. But there's bolts on the end here, so this is quite an adjustable version of a wraparound bridge. You know, these extra bolts on it, so you can slide the whole thing back. So I did that, and it's now playing pretty good. Not a huge variety of pickup options. We've got a humbucker in the bridge. That's kind of it. I'm going to play it through my wee Laney, which is going through that cab. But I'd imagine this is the sort of guitar that you'd be more likely to be playing through, like the wee Black Star. You know, something like this if you're travelling, or maybe some sort of I was actually telling the guy about, was it called a Pock Rock, which is like a wee, I think it's a copy of a Line 6 thing. It's like a wee red thing shaped like a kidney bean, and I think you get them from eBay China or like Wish, and they're about 20 quid, and it's got like drum machine, about 10 different amp models, headphone adapter, all these things in it. So something like that, and this, it's a headphones get going. I've never really played with headphones ever. It's kind of, to be honest, if you were playing this in a truck or something like that, you know, or maybe not playing in front of people, but you can still play it and practice, and you can hear it well enough. Apparently there's oh, see, I'm now getting confused. The guy liked this so much, my pal Ronnie, liked this so much, he bought another one almost immediately after it that looks kind of like a, I can't remember what make it is. I'll need to get a shot of him. It kind of looks like a sniper rifle with not all the attachments on it. It's like the tuning pegs are kind of here and here. It's got like a roller at the back. I wish I could remember what it was called. It was really good. It was a significantly more expensive guitar. I think it was like a sort of a £250 new guitar as opposed to this, which I think is about 120, something like that. It's one of those things I've seen quite a lot of times. You see them quite often sort of kicking about eBay Gumtree for sort of 70, 80, and I've always quite fancied one. I think this might have been made like in the 60s or 70s or something like that. I don't think this one wasn't, but I mean I think this model might have been a sort of carryover. I suppose it's the same sort of idea as the Hondo Chiquita, which I've never had one of, but I quite fancy one. Just that's the one that Marty McFly plays at the start of Back to the Future. He's got like a wee, is it Yellow has one? A wee Honda Chiquita, which is pretty much this. You know, he's got the big speaker that's the size of the wall, and he's turning all the valves up and it blows them away. That kind of this kind of guitar sort of thing. So I'll play some tunes on it. As with all humbuckers, they never. Maybe turn the volume down a little bit. You get a wee bit more jangle out the not buckers. I think it's dead hard to play them over. Mild distortion. Really getting to like my Washburn Stack in a Box pedal, which I'm using just now. I was always just Rat pedal was my favourite one, but I'm kind of getting this. It's a wee bit less aggressive. 24th fret, I'm going to try and play something up there. Bit of fuzz, which is more, I think, the sound you'll be using this guitar for. Yeah, so I suppose the main question, which everyone must be asked when you look at these things, is it a real guitar? Yes, it's a real guitar. There are situations, I think, if you're talking about buying this as a kid's guitar, yes, why not? Obviously, it being full scale length, but it is significantly smaller. One thing I did think I would probably have done, actually I was playing it sitting down earlier on, is I would have got a wee bit of sandpaper like that, and maybe double-sided sellotaped it on there, so that it sits better on your leg, because when you're playing it sitting down, it has a tendency to roll like so. So a wee bit of sandpaper stuck on the bottom there or something like that would make it, if you were playing it sitting down. Standing up, it's fine. It is a little bit, as I said earlier, it's a little bit neck heavy. Or maybe not neck heavy, because that would imply it's heavy, it weighs nothing. So it's more, you kind of have to hold it up a little bit, or keep your hand on here to try and keep it down. But I mean, it is a real guitar. Decent, actually quite decent quality all round. There's not very many parts in it, but the ones that are there look pretty good. I do like wrap over bridges. The volume controls are maybe a little bit close, but I mean, look at the size of the guitar. There's not, you can't put them further away, so it takes a wee while to get used to just the volume controls being so close. They're not, they don't interfere with your playing. They're just a little bit, when you go to reach it, you're kind of used to looking, going here somewhere for a volume, and it's up here, so it's quite close. Might be quite good for if I could do the violining thing, which I can. It's something I need to learn, actually, to do a bit of violining. A tilted back headstock. I think this has been designed to fit in the overhead locker on a plane type thing, where you're wanting a decent travel guitar for if you're, I don't know, if you're constantly travelling. But I mean, it's definitely good enough if you've got like your uni or something like that. You just want something that's small and easy to transport. I've maybe had a wee bit of a rethinking of my. I've always had like a camping guitar or whatever, one for taking to parties and stuff like that. Just now it's my Wee V, which is a short scale, but it's a flying V, maybe not 100% miles different from this. But I think if I was going travelling or something like that, I would just buy a 20 quid nylon string acoustic, and then that way, you can play it, someone can borrow it, you can lose it, you can drop it, you can sit on it, and it's like a 20 quid nylon string acoustic, and they can be made to do something. You wouldn't be precious about it, or something like this. You're not going to be wanting to be playing this out in the rain and stuff, because it's it's a 100 quid guitar. And saying that, a wee nylon string acoustic is fine for camping, but if it was the only guitar you had for, you've got to go and work in somewhere far away in another country for a month, and you've got you've got your digs, and you just this and a wee Black Star Fly, and you're playing guitar the whole time. And also, I'd actually be tempted, to be honest, if I went, depends which country it was, to try and find a guitar when I was there. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not taking a guitar to China, for example. Am I taking a guitar to China? But, because obviously I'll just buy one. So, yay, that gives me an excuse to buy another guitar for that particular journey. But I mean, it's pretty much it. If you have a shorter one and you can handle the size of it, it's a little bit, I mean, it makes me look like an even fatter bastard than I actually am, because it's so wee. So if you're a tiny person, this might look good. Also, I think it's the sort of thing that might be quite funny if you're playing a gig with it, because I mean, it's a giggable instrument. I'm obviously I'm playing it through a decent amp, but I mean, you can almost get away with actually thinking about it. I've got my double necks acoustics. Maybe you play acoustic for most of the set. You just have this on your back, and then you swing it around, and there you go for like one electric song. And it just takes up less room in the van. It's less things to carry and all these things. To be honest, I think, see, if I had got this in a trade, my pal actually offered to sell me, and it was like, I would like a shorter one though, but I was going to kind of buy one just for the shot of it, because I'm really not getting used for a travel guitar. There is room to put a neck pickup in. I would be tempted to put like a hot rail in the neck just to give it the full. Then you're not really compromised anywhere, really. I was feeling, I mean, I do have plenty of guitars. I've only got one humbucker, and it's quite cool, and it's metal, a couple of spiky ones, and it's like that's when you turn up with the one humbucker guitar. It's like, I'm playing lead, mate. You play chords. I'm lead. Look, I've only got one pickup, so I can only play lead. And that was my thinking about why I wanted a single humbucker guitar. But this is kind of more. It's not quite the metal thing, but I mean, it could be, and it does do everything. It's just you've got to be a wee bit, maybe you actually end up using the tone controller better. Also, I mean, this falls into the same trap as my wee V does. When you're playing through like a wee tiny, like one of those wee Marshall, is it an MS2 it's called? The wee sort of dual stack things, you know, it's like this size. I've got an orange, I think it's Dean Markley that make it, wee cheapy kicking about somewhere, and it's damn trebly, so really, if you're sticking a normal guitar into that, you tend to go straight onto the neck pickup to try and give it some bass somewhere. So in this case, you start wondering is it better having the pickup here or having a neck pickup instead, or maybe having it a little bit more in the middle rather than being pretty tight to the bridge. So it's quite a trebly, you know, in any guitar, putting the bridge pickup as close to the bridge as this, it's going to be damn trebly. I mean, it's not unusably so. Not so bad with the fuzz on, but you know, clean. Well, that's it. That's where the tone control makes a huge difference, isn't it? So good fun. I was going to start a new thing. I just got my. I'll probably talk about this on Sunday when I do a sort of talkie video. But I'm thinking of doing. You know, you get the things you see on YouTube where someone starts off with a paperclip, and then they swap it for a pencil, and then they swap the pencil for, you know, like a hairbrush, and then they swap the hairbrush for a. And eventually they started off with like a pencil, or like a paperclip or something, and they end up with a Caribbean island just by gradually, you know, trading up the whole thing. I'm thinking of doing something like that, but maybe not quite as extreme as that. Because I just got my first YouTube money in for the first 3 months, and so I'm thinking there's kind of two options. I can either use all the money, or I can use the what I got for the first month. What I got for the first month was £16 something, and I was thinking, I think I could probably get a guitar for £16 odd, and then maybe, ideally maybe if one of you have got like a guitar sitting like a cheapy Strat copy or something like that with a couple of bits missing or it doesn't play or just unloved, and I could buy that for the £16. That's me on the road, and then just using sort of parts I've got lying about, do it up. You know, maybe stick an extra pickup in it or paint it if it's Buckfaster casterable or iron brewable, then I can do that, and then once I've got that, I'll then have a Bucky caster, and then I can swap that for something else, and gradually you just keep edging up, swapping for guitars that are a bit better but maybe need a little bit of work or a bit more obscure or just something interesting. And I think my ideal aim would be to get a Gibson Les Paul. Wouldn't that be cool? Because I totally hate Gibson Les Pauls and I would never buy one, but if I do this, then YouTube bought me one. So I need to think a bit more about the details on it. So I'm just thinking about that. If anyone's watching this and you do have like a £16 cheapy Strat, Telly, anything really, guitar that I can sort of fix and, or maybe, you know, stick stupid switches in or something like that, and then swap it for something a bit more, and then keep going up and up and up, and just see how high I can sort of get. But I think a reasonable aim is to go for, you know, Gibson Les Paul. I know there's a guy, Trogley, who I've watched some of his YouTube channels, not all of them, I watched some of his videos. He's more into, you know, premium guitars. And it's like, oh, here's a 1974 Les Paul. And as you can all see, they're totally wrong, because my God, how stupid are you thinking that it's a 1974 Les Paul? You know, the 1974 Les Paul's got a square truss rod cover, you know, that kind of thing. You know, it's like, oh, right, okay. Stuff that doesn't really interest me. But to get a Gibson Les Paul, I think my stipulation would be it has to be a Gibson. It has to be a Les Paul, and it has to be like the sort of carved top, two humbuckers, you know, because I quite like, you know, the sort of Les Paul Juniors and the P90s and stuff like that, I quite like them, so not that, and ideally in the colour which I hate most, which is the sort of sunbursty slash one. I don't know how long that'll take. This might take me years to do, maybe like a yearly thing. Thinking of maybe calling it, like doing it on a Saturday and calling it, what was it, is it Saturday Swap Shop or Saturday Morning Superstore or whatever it used to be called before going live was on a Saturday morning, something like that, you know, some sort of swap shoppy thing, and I'll document it. I'll maybe even take videos kind of when I go and pick stuff up. I've got a big PC now, so I should be editing. It's just as much easier to film things on my laptop there than it is to do it now. But if I film it with my GoPro, you know, maybe do a wee bit of, obviously with the person's permission, doing the swap, you know, a wee bit of in the car footage, and then a wee bit of sort of meeting the whoever it is that sells me, and then swapping it over, and then another wee bit of the video would be me doing what I did to it and how I did it, and see what I end up with. But interesting to get some. I'm thinking more along the lines of getting guitars I would never normally buy for myself. It's kind of, you know, some guitars I just wouldn't. I bet you I could make money if I was mad into like Fender Mexican Stratocasters. I bet you there's money to be made if I could buy. But the thing is, I'm just not really that interested in it. You know, I'm much more interested in the 80s stuff. But it'd be nice to, and I'd maybe get some things that I totally wouldn't expect. You know, things I would never consider. I mean, things I was talking about it before, that my Yamaha sort of jazz boxy looking thing. I really like this guitar, and it's not one I would ever have bought. I only bought it because it was such a price I couldn't say no to, and I figured I'll be able to sell that tonight for the same price if I don't like it. You know, kind of more going for things that are a little bit strange, a little bit odd, and things that I wouldn't normally even look at. Now, I was looking at the money I got from YouTube, and I do actually have enough to buy it. Like I said, I spend a bit more than that, but I just think starting at 15 quid is quite a nice sort of doable, you know. So buy a £15, you know, Marlin, Honor, Behringer, whatever it is, Stratty type thing, painted it Bucky colours. It's now going to be worth sort of 40, 50 quid, assuming it's working and doing some interesting stuff, and then I can swap that for something and see where I end up. This might just be a pipe dream, might never happen. I nearly bought a couple of guitars today in Edinburgh. I was thinking I could buy 2 guitars. There's a guy in Edinburgh selling a Telly and a Les Paul. I thought, oh, it's just that the whole driving to Edinburgh thing, because I would really have to put petrol in to this equation if I was trying to do the proper swappy thing. So it's a thing I've not thought about enough, but I think it might be quite interesting. Yeah, but if you fancy one of these, they're great. It's a fantastic thing if it's the sort of thing you're after. I don't know if I would necessarily buy it if I didn't have a guitar. Here's your one. If I didn't have a guitar, it'd be better than having no guitar. Much better than having no guitar, and perhaps a kid, because then you start thinking, oh, it's like a kiddie's guitar. If they can actually learn to play on it, because some of the ones you get, the ones you always see, the really short scale ones, they don't actually play. So you're kind of buying. When you can pick them up for, I think, about 40 quid brand new, or maybe 50 quid brand spanking new for these, you know, the short scale ones. Kind of maybe don't look that different from this, but they're short scale. They kind of don't work. If your kid's too young to play anyway, they just want a guitar to just, you know, do that with, then I suppose that's fine. But really, you want to be able to get one, whereas if they do actually decide to try and play something, they can. And yes, as a functional item, this fits the bill lovely. Also, it's Hofner. Now, I don't imagine it's anything to do with the original Hofner from Germany. I'd imagine this is just a Chinese thing. Since 1887, there you go. So I mean, they have been kicking about quite a long time. And this, you know, as I say, plug this into, I think you can get, actually I saw the other day, I saw a fake Black Star Fly. I think it's only about 30 quid. For like, and if it's, I don't know, I mean, maybe actually buy one just out of curiosity to try it against a real one. Maybe that'd be quite a good video. What would I do with 2 Black Star Flies though? Or even if it is exactly, well, if it was exactly the same, I would sell my Black Star and probably make money on it. Interesting. Anyhow, rock on. I've got this to get up and running. It's actually turned out to be actually a really good guitar. Kind of totally not going to keep it though. It's like, well, a lot of these guitars, well, this one isn't mine, so I've got no issues with this one. But a lot of these guitars, I've got to buy these thinking, right, I'm going to buy that, fix it, sell it. It's not for me, so that I can kind of stay a bit detached from it, because I tend to, occasionally that fails. You know, it's not very often I buy a guitar for me and end up selling it. Normally it's a pure one I really wanted for myself. But I do quite fancy getting a Les Paul. Just seeing as I hate them so much, because maybe if I owned one, I would get to see what the fuss is all about. Like, every time I try one, it's not like I hate Les Pauls. There, see, I told you I hate it. Every time I get a shot of a Les Paul, it's like, right, got to try and like this, because everyone says they're pure amazing, the most popular guitar ever. I can't get them. Mind you, I never used to like Strats either, because they were too thin sounding, whereas now I do get Strats. I don't have any of it. I can't, like, Fender ones or anything like that, but I've got a few copies, and the general concept of the Strat I now appreciate. It would never be as good as a telly. I don't think, for me. Anyway, talked enough. Rock on. Buy one of these. Actually, my pal might actually be selling this, so if you're interested in buying this, I did ask for the price of it. I think he paid 70 quid for it, or 60 quid. So that's what I think. If you're after one of these, it's set up and it's playing really well. It's a good one. It looks in pretty much mint condition. So if you want to give me a message if you're interested in purchasing such a thing, and I will pass you on to the owner. Rock on!